So we've talked about mortals and gods of destruction both here on the Strongest in Dragon Ball series, but have we really talked about a mortal who became a god of destruction? Well, it's implied in the series that at one time Beerus was a mortal and earned the right to be a god of destruction. And in the Tournament of Power, we actually witnessed something like this happening with the character of Toppo, who is the leader of the Pride Troopers, but also a candidate to being a god of destruction. And we saw him tap into those god of destruction powers in the Tournament of Power arc close to the climax. And thus, I think it would be fitting to do a Strongest in Dragon Ball analyzing the power of Toppo, the mortal who is next in line to being a god of destruction for Universe 11. Let's talk about Toppo next. What's going on, everyone? If you like the videos I'm putting out on this channel, remember to hit that like button. And remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell. That way you get all my content right to your device every time I upload. And I thank you for your continued support. Toppo, also known as Top in the English dub, is the leader of the Pride Troopers, Universe 11's Keepers of the Peace and #1 superhero team. And although Toppo is not the most powerful member of the Pride Troopers, Toppo is still extremely powerful, but also very knowledgeable about the universe, because not only the fact that he is the leader of this group and thus has to have the skills necessary to lead, but also he is a candidate to being the god of destruction for Universe 11, which is something that they revealed very early on in the promotional material for this arc. The idea behind a mortal becoming a god of destruction is one that was briefly touched upon in Battle of Gods and afterward. Whis implies at a couple different points in the series that he's interested in Goku or Vegeta possibly becoming gods of destruction at some point. In Battle of Gods, he even discusses that Beerus may be getting too old to being a god of destruction. And after the arc, in the Super version, he tells Vegeta that he was interested in teaching him on how to be a god of destruction, but we really don't know what the criteria actually is to become a god of destruction, with the exception of being very, very powerful, and Toppo certainly is that. Let's not forget, during the first fight he ever had in Dragon Ball Super against Goku in the Zen exhibition match, Toppo was able to survive a warp Kamehameha from Super Saiyan Blue Goku. He just stood there and ate it. So that was an early showcase of how strong Toppo was, and this is him not even having to tap into the god of destruction powers. Of course, in the manga version, he hit Goku in the balls, and that's how he won. Either way, it was entertaining, but he certainly was way more impressive in the anime version. Toppo has always been played up as being a very level-headed and smart fighter, and that's probably a big reason as to why he's the leader of the Pride Troopers. He has true leadership skills, respect for his comrades, he supports them, he has a lot of honor, and he is totally obsessed with justice. However, when things get tough, Toppo taps into his training for being a Hakaishin, a god of destruction, and in some ways, as described this way in the series, he threw away his own morals, he threw away his own opinion, his own creeds, I guess you can say, to tap into that power. They already gave us an early clue to this when we find out that Toppo is the bodyguard of Belmod / Vermouth and Kai from the Universe 11 God hierarchy. So if you've got a mortal who is the bodyguard for a god of destruction, that is interesting. Does that mean that Toppo is indeed more powerful than Vermouth? Or maybe it's implied that someday he will be more powerful, or perhaps that's part of his training to being a god of destruction, is to protect the current one. We may never know, but it is something that I would love to see more of. Also, be sure to note that in the manga version, Toppo did tap into his own god ki during the first fight with Goku before Tournament of Power happened. So they gave us a teaser of the fact that he had god ki early on, but it wasn't quite the same as what Toppo would do later on in the tournament itself. Anime version specifically. Manga version didn't do anything with him like this, but the anime version did. Toppo literally transforms into, I guess, his god of destruction Toppo form, where he gets bigger, he's got some kanji on his chest, he's glowing purple, like other gods of destruction that we've seen. Toppo powers up into this form, and everybody in the arena is shook at the incredible amount of power that Toppo is showing, and he uses this power right away to almost pretty much one-shot Golden Frieza with one huge I guess, Hakai ball. Now, I want to discuss the Hakai ball for a second because there's been some speculation as far as what this actually is. Toppo says Hakai, which implies that it's the same technique that Beerus and Seadra used earlier in the series. But of course, when a God of Destruction does Hakai, it wipes the opponent away from existence. However, Toppo's version is more like just a really strong energy ball made up of Hakai energy that's not really meant to kill you. Well, there's two reasons as to why this might be the case. Number one, Toppo purposely did not use the real Hakai technique because if you kill someone in the tournament, you are disqualified. So Toppo did not want to get disqualified, and thus he lowered the amount of Hakai energy he put into the Hakai, and thus it does not kill you. The other possibility is that Toppo has not yet learned how to use the fully mastered Hakai move that Beerus and Seadra know how to use, and maybe that's why his Hakai was not a killing move. However, it's still a very powerful move, and he was so powerful, don't forget this little detail, that when he powered up, the entire world of void, the null realm, whatever you want to call it, went from green to purple. He shook the entire thing and changed its color, which we kind of saw Kid Buu do at the end of Dragon Ball Z, but it seems to be more impactful when Toppo does it because this is the world of void. There's also another interesting technique that Toppo does where he sort of creates a barrier surrounding himself with Hakai energy, which really has incredible destructive properties, but also protects Toppo from other key base attacks. And there are several times, I should note, where Toppo states to Frieza that he could kill him anytime he wanted to, but he does not want to get disqualified. So Toppo himself actually says this, and it's probably true because God of Destruction Toppo is second only to Jiren as far as power goes. So that should tell you something about Jiren. Now, as a God of Destruction, Toppo seems to be a lot more focused on winning and on victory by throwing away his morals than he was when he was just Toppo. Obviously, when he's Toppo, he's got all these wacky moves like the Justice Crusher, Justice Flash, Justice Choke, Justice Punch, Justice Beam, Justice, Justice, Justice. But when he becomes a God of Destruction, the justice goes out the window and he just wants to win. He even states, justice and evil, I'm beyond that now. All that matters now is winning and survival, which really should have been the mentality from day one in this tournament. But hey, they want to screw around a lot, and that's kind of what happened. So, as a God of Destruction, Toppo was relatively unmatched outside of anybody not named Goku and Jiren. However, he fell at the hands of Vegeta of all people. Now, when Toppo and Vegeta start to fight, Toppo does overwhelm him. Toppo's power is pretty freaking absurd at this time, and he starts to beat the crap out of Vegeta. And what ends up happening is Vegeta taps into what is referred to as Super Saiyan Blue Evolution or Shinka, whatever you want to call it, and Vegeta does a modified version of the final explosion from the Buu saga, but instead of actually destroying himself, he comes to the brink of doing it, but doesn't actually do it. But this energy output that he was able to create in SSB Evolution was enough to nullify or overpower Toppo's God of Destruction energy and eliminate him from the Tournament of Power. And once he got eliminated, he reverted back to his regular base form, and he felt bad about the loss, but he went out like a warrior and did the best he could. Now, the scary thing about Toppo is not so much what he did now, but what he could do going forward. He's not finished, presumably, with his training to be a Hakaishin. So if he's this powerful now to where he barely lost to SS Blue Evolution Vegeta's final explosion, how much more powerful could he be? Will he ever be able to surpass Jiren in power? I don't know if that's going to happen in the series, but if the guy keeps training and learning these God of Destruction techniques, maybe someday he will be as dangerous as Beerus or perhaps even higher than that. That remains to be seen. Anyways, thank you so very much for watching this edition of The Strongest in Dragon Ball, where we discussed God of Destruction Toppo. And if you enjoyed this breakdown of Toppo's incredible power, albeit brief, check out these videos as well. I think you'll like them.